Okay, kind of talking about how the reform movement leads to a push for educating the masses. Up until this point, there was really rarely tax-supported compulsory or mandatory schools at this point in this era. We start seeing the push for free public education mainly as a result of the power of the masses after the election of Andrew Jackson in 1828. You got basically poorly taught children, poorly trained teachers, so a guy by the name of Horace Mann, known as the father of the public education, is sent in to basically reform the systems that he sees around him in Massachusetts and elsewhere and push for having a little bit more of a common thread or a little bit towards that standards-based education where students would be a little bit more educated rather than just being babysat. So this is kind of the push for educating the masses, and it's kind of a result of this mass democracy that's going on in America during this point, and you really see that culminate in 1828 because a lot of people feel that if the masses can vote, they should be educated, and this is a proper way of doing it because some European nations are moving this way at this point too. You've also got Noah Webster and the creation of the American language rather than just the English language, but also American, and McGuffey's Readers as well. So along with tax-paid or tax-funded public education, we also see that the Second Great Awakening creates a lot more schools in the South and in the West as well. You're going to see some of the first state-supported universities like the University of North Carolina in 1795, and Thomas Jefferson's vision of the University of Virginia is going to be created supposedly independent of politics and religion, much like we see Thomas Jefferson's beliefs on so forth of religion and freedoms and so forth. We also start seeing the establishment of women universities, but for the most part, women are not going to be involved in the educational sector as well, only in the ideas of teachers at the lower levels, not necessarily higher education, but we start seeing those places kind of popping up, seminaries mainly to educate women in the church. And libraries and public lectures are starting to develop, but for the most part prior to this, they were all private libraries, and now they're becoming public. So you can see how this reform movement also kind of creates a pursuit of perfection, and one way to seek perfection, people would argue, or an opportunity out of either bad situation is education, and that's where we start seeing this flourish during this period of the 1820s and 30s and so on.